A man used a small knife to take apart his glasses, removed the lenses, and stack them together. Next, he broke a pine branch and took off the pollen cones, stuffing them into his mouth and chewing them thoroughly. Once it became a mush, he carefully smeared it between the two lenses, creating a makeshift magnifying glass. But that alone wasn't enough. He then used a hollow straw to fill the space between the lenses with saliva. After everything was ready, the man found a piece of dry grass and adjusted the lens angle to focus sunlight onto a single point. Sure enough, it wasn't long before the white grass started to smoke. Excited, the man added kindling and kept blowing air on it, trying to grow the flame. But in the next second, he picked up a cup of water and poured it over the hard-earned fire, extinguishing it completely. As sizzling sounds echoed from the rock, the man eagerly picked up his knife and scraped away the debris. Soon, a thick iron spike, as thick as a baby's arm, appeared, deeply embedded in the rock. A heavy chain attached to the spike was locked around the man's ankle. It was a punishment from his superiors for trying to desert. Before leaving, they gave him only a little food and a few bullets, ordering him to fight until his last breath. But no one wants to die, and neither did this man. He tried all sorts of methods to break free, but none worked. It wasn't until he poured cold water on the red-hot rock that he finally saw a glimmer of hope. However, the fighter jets occasionally flying overhead chilled him with fear. If discovered by the enemy, the consequences would be unthinkable. So he had to move quickly. Except when eating or resting, the man spent all his time heating and dousing the stone, over and over. Soon, almost all the surrounding vegetation was used up. He poured out the last cup of drinking water from an iron bucket, then lay flat on the ground. Ignoring the heat, he grabbed the glowing stick bare-handed and used it to heat the water. Then poured the hot water onto the iron spike. After doing all this, he grabbed the chain with anticipation and tried to pull the spike out. But it was stuck like a tree root. No matter how hard he pulled, it didn't budge. Eventually, he let go, his expression filled with despair. Thinking about his fate, he sank into deeper hopelessness. But the next day, he came up with a new idea. He used the clasp from the iron bucket to press down on a bullet, then carefully twisted it open. After removing the gunpowder, he poured it into an empty metal can. He cleared away the ash around the iron spike and poured the gunpowder into the gap, adding dry grass as a fuse. To increase the blast's force, he even surrounded the area with rocks and packed everything tight with his hands. Once everything was ready, he lit the grass fuse and quickly retreated, hiding under his coat and holding his breath, praying for success. Soon, a pop sound came from above. He quickly got up to check. After a few kicks, to his surprise and joy, he noticed the iron spike had loosened. He immediately lay on the ground, hooked a nearby rock with his rifle, but then slammed it hard onto the spike from different angles. After several tries, he dropped the rock, wrapped the chain with his clothes, clenched his teeth, and pulled with all his might. As the spike loosened, the man suddenly stepped back and fell to the ground. Looking at the freed chain, the darkness in his heart instantly vanished. A surge of uncontrollable courage and hope welled up within him.